just loading as it often does. We are live on all our platforms, so you have the stage, Javi.
Okay, perfect. Amazing. Hello, everybody. My name is Javi, and I'll be your host tonight. I'd like to welcome you to the Berkeley Poetry Slam. That's usually when people would cheer if we were like in a regular non-dystopian world. But I'd like to welcome you to the slam regardless. For those of you watching for the first time, a slam is a place where we hear people's poetry and we decide, you know what, instead of just appreciating it, we're going to put numbers to how good we appreciate it. Before we start, I'd like to give a big shout out and thank you to our Patreon patrons and supporters. If you didn't know, it takes a lot of work to run a slam and a show, especially throughout the Bay Area. We have a Patreon at patreon.com/richoakevents. Special shout out to Renee Edmonds, Emily Chow, Callie for being our regulars, and thank you to Jessica Kozasik for sponsoring one of our weekly workshops. If you want to support us over at Rich Oak Events, you can go to patreon.com/richoakevents or our Cash App, Rich Oak Events, or Venmo at Rich Oak Slam. We are a conglomerate of slams. So if you want to see other slams, just wait until the end of the show. I'll tell you more about it. Okay, so I got some rules for the poets right quick. Poets have 3 minutes and 10 seconds to say whatever they want, as long as they wrote it themselves. No props, no animal accompaniments, just your hands and your voice and, I don't know, screaming maybe. After 3 minutes and 10 seconds, you get deducted points. At 4 minutes, you get muted. We have a word of the day. It is Merriam-Webster word of the day, which today is dorsal, meaning relating to or situated near or on the back. So like a dorsal fin. Ooh, wow, we all went to elementary school. Okay, if poets manage to fit that word into their poem seamlessly, you get a point. Don't worry, judges, we'll take care of it. You don't have to worry about it. Audience, like and share and subscribe our Instagram and Twitter at Berkeley Slam, Facebook, the Berkeley Poetry Slam. Comment on the feed, share it with people that you know. We post our videos at the end of the night to our YouTube video, to our YouTube page. Yeah, influencer. To our YouTube page, Bay Poets Unite. Okay, now some rules for the judges. Judges are people that decided that they wanted to put numbers to art today. They're going to be judging each poem from a scale of 0.0 to 10.0, 0.0 meaning it sucks, 10.0 meaning it didn't suck. It was the opposite, like it blowed. No, that's not how words work, but it kind of is. No, 10 is amazing. It was the best poem you've ever heard. So not a lot of 10s, not a lot of zeros. It's important to just stay consistent. Okay, now that we got that all out of the way, we are actually going to start tonight with our amazing feature, Joshua Merchant. Oh, wow, oh my God, Joshua Merchant. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, before I present him to the stage, I have a little bio. Joshua Merchant is a native of East Oakland, exploring queer issues, Black identity, and the complexities of their intersection. In 2011, he won the title of Youth Speaks Champion and represented the Bay Area at Brave New Voices. Later that year, he became the Berkeley Slam's youngest individual World Poetry Slam representative, also a contributor for The Bigger Picture, a campaign designed to fight against type 2 diabetes amongst youth of color. He is contributor for Off-Page Project, collaboration between Youth Speaks and the Center for Investigative Reporting that uses an investigative lens with literary arts to give light and discuss important issues locally and nationally. His self-published e-chapbook is available online at joshuamerchant.com. Please welcome to the virtual stage our amazing feature, Joshua Merchant.
Hi. What's up? I'm gonna read poems. That's what's gonna happen. Okay, so this first poem I'm gonna read. Once upon a time, not long ago, I lived with this white woman named Kat Sanford. And she kind of helped me in a way when I was going through some stuff with family issues, which is why I didn't have a place to stay at the time. but she made me feel weird. She made me feel very weird. And like I ended up not living there anymore. And we don't, dude, I'm not even gonna say her name again. That's like, yeah. But I have a poem about that experience or how that experience made me feel. Yeah. If I collected your heads as souvenirs, Hillary Clinton would cheer while watching me get stabbed as she doused her Brussels sprouts with hot sauce. Nancy Reagan would send a tank through my brother's home and try to use him as a temporary fix. Meghan McCain would get the inside scoop, sifting through her litter box for my coagulated blood, which the Kardashians would siphon, rub across their wombs for protection, and keep the rest of my body in their house for protection, assuming you didn't have an invulnerability spell stretched across your skeleton, of which I grab my bat to swing and freeze. I say, I'm leaving. My throat is clogged and flooded. I shout, you're not my real mom, and you build me a high chair. Dangle fruit snacks at the top. Little did you know, my earliest memory is me climbing out of my crib to grab my favorite teddy bear. I gets what I need. And though this sweet tooth may plague me, know that hunger is not the same thing. So next poem. America is a hospital, is a joint, will smoke you, is a funeral, is an open wound in the line at Popeye's Chicken, is the janitor there to clean, trying to unsee what they just saw, is a knife, is a gun, is a magic trick, summons tents under underpasses, demands you find a new home, is a bully who will bully you until you are and punish you for it, is an old white man trying to defend you until he is beaten bloody, will make you feel like you need a white ally, will make you not trust your white allies anymore, is poison that needs more poison to keep from dying, is a pimp and a hoe, holding machetes to each other's throats as they are both ran over by a cop car, pulling back to a hotel suite on a resort in Hawaii, gets to go downstairs to visit the pyramids in Vegas, makes money to lose money, loses money to make money, and will tell you crime don't pay. America will give you a phone call saying your mother has COVID. Those same people will tell you she can't swallow her food. Those same people will take her to the emergency room, only to tell you they're not giving those who've tested positive feeding tubes. Those same people will cover the cost for her ceremony. And I know, this is the part where motherfuckers suck their teeth. This too is old as fuck. What are we to do? Laugh too loud and you're hysterical. Cry too much and you're too sensitive. Talk to yourself while outside and everyone will laugh while running across the street. I'm here to tell you, I'd rather you run. Excuse our language. We don't mean to curse. This isn't me dropping a house on you. This is me placing a castle on your forehead and telling you to balance that shit. The way I have to, the way we've all had to for centuries. May it never catch fire. May you never crumble under its weight, and God forbid you do anyway. May the next ally take your shoes and click their heels until they do better. May the next ally see your shoes and tap the scarecrow, the Tin Man, and the Lion and say, I think you might need these. They say the road to hell was paved with good intentions, but to freedom, maybe the bricks are coke white, cloak white, white as the hands that clubbed our mouths shut and told us to eat. Okay. Next poem. Next I'm just gonna like read some pieces that make me happy, or make me feel joyful. So there's this piece that I wrote, and it was while I was on the 2014 New Shit Show team. And it was a phenomenal team. It was an honor to be on that team. It was also a very difficult thing for me to be on the team, and I found myself asking, "Bitch, how did I end up here?" But there was this moment where Dinesh Smith was one of the poets that was on the team, and we like had this moment in which we wrote a group piece. And so I'm going to be sharing what I wrote for that group piece, and it's called "At the Down Low House Party" after Dinesh Smith. Here, we boogeymen are transformed into niggas dying to boogie. We be wallflowers hiding our petals in awe of what grew wild and sweet. We say sup, meaning I've been waiting for a smile like yours to save me from a shell like mine. We say, what you doing? Meaning I am a transient crumbling in your mouth come the morning. But the easiest thing to say is pass that shit. Here, we water ourselves with 1800 proof, hoping courage blossoms from our saliva and pours into a pretty boy's lap. Sometime between here and being straight again, he shows up, voguing. Here, we become more cauldron than gardening pot, and we call him faggot, meaning warlock, and everything burning is fierce, an incantation making our bones jolt. Here, we flinch at the supernatural, as if fierce can't bling from our top layer of teeth, can't shine hanging low from around our necks, can't be perched on the corner of our skulls, soft and folding into itself, can't curl and lock around the belt loop on the right side of our jabot jeans, can't be the ripple across our scalps when brushing our hair, can't glisten in our dimples, can't lie in the soft of our palms, be the thirst that dribbles from our lips, and we call him faggot, meaning he the beholder of all our power, all our secrets. And we call him faggot, meaning here we all smolder at the sight of you. We all surrender at the sight of you. All right. Okay. Next piece. On being told I am too black, therefore ugly. This black has ran me off the playground into my father, only to be greeted by a succession of slaps, each open palm soft enough to be painless and hard enough to keep my cheeks wet with salt. I couldn't see the love in this back then. Him egging me on, him giving me permission to run rabid, to fight if I felt it necessary. You don't get mad, son. Why aren't you mad? I didn't have the words to say, I don't believe I deserve to be. He knew no other way to tell me our rage is just another part of us that needs no permission. So this next piece is called Home, and it's about my difficult relationship with where I'm from, because it's complicated, but I also love it. I love Oakland. I love where I'm from. I love the Bay. I love the Bay in its entirety. But yeah, hold on. How do I make this shit larger? Cool. Home. I'm from here, but it don't always feel like it. With all the street signs, the church across the street next to the soul food spot that was a taqueria that sold ice cream. Down the block off Bancroft is Chico's corner store. And then there's the corner store that popped up in the middle of the block, down the street from Frick Middle School, which was across the street from Pops, where I was popular for a week until my peers decided otherwise. The park across the street from Frick, where Pops swore we would be college basketball players, and the cemetery across the street from the park where one or several of our relatives are, and the boys mean mugging who looked at me the way all of us looked at the random corner store, the boys who lingered before the cops and obituaries, before the new paint job and gate that didn't keep us blacks out, the boys who lingered near the Chevron parking lot on Seminary and Mac, where moms used to live, where she kept several jobs, where one of them was downstairs next to the Baskin Robbins, where she loved us but didn't want us to be sweeter than the ice cream she bought us, where our uncle lives now. All these street signs, turns, and corners remind me of a place I love, but don't always feel comfortable. Oakland be a hoodie that's not always my size. Sometimes gets shrunk in the dryer, sometimes gets wet in the rain and expands, too cold and too big to fit, but it is home, always has been. Um, on being told I was too black, therefore ugly, resurrection of the truth. I am learning that this black needs space, that my name has broad shoulders, and to speak out loud is to give myself elbow room, to tunnel through what suffocates the dead. Yes, it is true. I've been referred to as dirt. And when my hands clawed through the surface, pulling out my body, the snickering children grew silent in awe and fear. The white folks applauded stony-eyed. The boy who believed he was to be worshipped by dead things bowed his head in honor. My brother wept and said he was sorry for ever holding a shovel. And the elders mumbled, "Well, isn't this familiar?" And the elders chattered, "It's about damn time." I'll read this poem. So this poem is about like one of the only interactions I did get to have with my dad before I moved out here to Baton Rouge. And it was complicated. He's complicated, I'm complicated, but it is what it is. Life raft. We hadn't spoke for months. Our last conversation, a wrecked ship where we both assumed each other to be Loch Ness or Boros in each other's eyes. I want to say it's rare I hear your voice light up the way it did over the phone, but it's rare my voice echoes your light. After years of drowning in each other's shame, you, a father who couldn't raise a son to be one, me, sparkling too loud to be your shadow. We hear each other after months, and it's like seeing. When we finally do see in person, we apologize in the ways we know how to. You in your wallet, me in the dish rag. We find harmony in our troubled waters. In this moment, we float. And what else? Oh, so I'm gonna read this piece. This piece is just really cool to me because it's me exploring my relationship with sexuality and gender and shit like that. And though at this point, I really don't feel like I owe niggas an explanation on gender identity and how I identify and shit like that. I really do love this piece because it's me exploring that in a way that doesn't feel like I'm like, blah. Like it just it's fun and it's celebratory. And so it's called Realness with a Twist. Realness with a Twist. 1. Butch. Slide through the party like a wrecking ball swelling in a beanie. Be a boy soaked in rum. Under your skin, a dance lies hiding. Shows up in low eyes and sweat. What are you but a cloud, raining, waiting to make a boy your parade? 2. Queen. The party be a thicket of curls you learn to call crown. Show them what shimmers in empty glasses. Between the boy and his she, the crowd will lick the ice clean, hoping residue leaves them drunk. You are strobe lightning shaking sugar water from your trench coat. During the night, your name is a holiday. 3. Magic. Slide through the party like a wrecking ball, be a thicket of curls swelling in a beanie you learn to call crown. Be a boy soaked in rum. Show them what shimmers under your skin. In empty glasses, a dance lies hiding between the boy and his she, shows up in low eyes and sweat. The crowd will lick the ice clean, hoping residue leaves them drunk. What are you but a strobe lightning cloud, raining sugar water from your trench coat, waiting to make a boy your parade during the night your name is a holiday? How am I doing on time? I've just been reading stuff. Like I don't.
We got like 5 more minutes left, so like another poem or two.
Cool. Actually, I'm gonna read this poem again. I read it yesterday, but I'm gonna. Azalea, the hue of public pool bitches who knew they were really mermaids. Azalea, you emerged from the blue in 1991, in a world where others will try to tell you how to pronounce your own name, how to represent what you were born into, how to honor that within your proximity. The glitter in your scales catching moonlight, you, like everyone else, wants a way in. On what sea sails when we sail past the seashore? We taught ourselves to swim. Do you remember the first time gills sprawled across your neck? For me, I was at an amusement park, Lagoon, Utah. Maybe the effulgence of the inflatable donut wore off. Maybe watching others made me feel like a floating sycophant. And there I was, under, paddling, kicking, gliding under all the way to Fremont Pool, a newborn flex, my closest friends' midwives off duty, and there we were at Temescal and PE, playing in the shallows because with no formal training and a little know-how, that's what made sense. 3 feet worth of lessons. Before the week ahead, where Miss G's hand is an obsidian one pointing to the other side, where lessons 3 feet taller than me reside, and there I was. The scabs on knees and stitches where shins splintered from years spent crawling on land, dying to be where the people are in full bloom. Streams of blood spooling from both legs until they were webbed into one before my very eyes. Some asked me to join the swim team, and I laughed, because what the fuck do I look like? gonna read one more poem, and I'm gonna say goodnight. Veronica. Before my mother became off balanced, she was perfectly petals and thorn. I don't remember when she started to wilt, but I do recall watching a petal fall, her raising two beams of light soon to be confused in the dark. My father was my father, and her boyfriend, a boy with too much input. But even before then and after, she is Veronica, a gentle spirit who will pop you in the mouth for all the right reasons. Ice crystallizing in the corner of her eyes, heart still lava fueled. Veronica, Ronnie, if you know her like that, will take you to an R-rated movie and dare you to cuss in front of her. She will ear hustle just to tell you how brilliant you are. If you ever stole anything, the ice in her eyes would melt, and as you bared witness, you couldn't help but be flooded too. Veronica loved you when she loved you, and even when she didn't know how to not be love. After watching pills and hospitals crystallize around her into a vase, this is what I choose to remember about her. A woman obsessed with what she's planted, waiting for her sons to rise to the occasion of the sky. Thank you. Yeah.
Give it up for our amazing feature. Wow, that was.
Woo!
Oh, yes. Everyone
Love
unmute
you
yourself.
guys.
Oh my gosh.
That was
Everyone
amazing.
make sure to go and
Love y'all
get
too.
that
Thanks.
e-chat book at joshuamerchant.com. Hit up Joshua Merchant and all the Instagrams and social medias. That's the word, not Instagram. Social medias is the overarching thing. Thank you for that amazing feature. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Oof. I'm sweaty because the light is hot and also because that poetry was amazing. Okay, so now we're gonna get into the first round of the slam. Who's ready? Okay, our poets are gonna be going in this order. We have Gray Violet, Bemi, Reggie, Samantha Kendall, and Colin. Give it up for our poets. Okay, on deck, that means coming up next, we have Gray Violet, but coming up to the stage, we have a sacrificial poet. This is a poet who is not in it for the competition, but in it just to give us amazing poetry and because I asked them to. Now, this is a calibration poet, so for judges, you're gonna judge this poem however you think, and then each poem afterwards, if you liked it more, give it a higher score. If you liked it less, give it a lower score. Okay, amazing. So on deck, we have Gray Violet, our first poet of the Slam. But coming up to the stage, give it up for our sacrifice, Risa.
Woo!
President JFK had a younger sister no one in the politically involved family liked to mention. Her name was Rose Kennedy, and she burned too bright, too fast, 22. The bipolar diagnosis was brought to America in the late 1970s, 21. In Washington, D.C., 40 years before, Rose attended convent school. In a family of political vultures, she was a mouse. Rose had bad grades. Loved to kiss boys her parents didn't know about, was too much woman, too much wild card, too much sadness, so 20. Doctors told her father about a catch-all cure for mental illness and mood swings called lobotomy when Rose was 22. She was too much for them to handle, 19. When I was 12, I was diagnosed with bipolar disorder. My mom still hasn't really accepted this, says acupuncture will help, says a gluten-free diet will help, says anything except actually loving me for who I am now will help. 18. Rose was 23 when she was strapped to the operating table. Doctors asked her to sing, to pray, to count backwards. 17. When she became incoherent, they withdrew the knife from her forehead. 16. Lobotomy was considered a catch-all cure for mental illness. 15. When Rose started having her mood swings, in her family's eyes, she turned from a mild threat to their careers into a monster. 14. My dad calls my depression a demon. 13. Rose kept a diary. They asked her to count backwards. 12. If Rose was born now, I think she would be an artist. 11. If I was born then, I think I would be a monster. 10. Was she scared when she 9? Realized that 8. Things were getting worse. 7. Not 6. Better. 5. She burned too bright, too fast. 4. My mother's second choice of a name for me was Rose. 3. 2. 1. Thank you.
Y'all better put some respect on Risa.
Give it up for our sacrifice judges. Please put your scores in. Send your scores to our scorekeeper judges. I'm going to stay unbiased. Actually, that was a sacrifice. I don't have to stay unbiased or not. That was fierce. Yes, give it up for our sacrifice Risa. Okay. So on deck, we have Bemi coming up to the stage. Give it up for our first poet of the slam, Gray Violet.
Hey, girl, hey.
Woo! Hey.
Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
A straight cis man asked me if I missed dick. Like, I know you're a lesbian, but do you miss dick? He wanted to know if I missed him. His dick was all he could give me, and he was hurt that I wouldn't receive it. He just couldn't believe that I didn't miss men, because in his mind, dick only belonged to men. And he thought I hated dick because I hated men. And because I hated men, I was a lesbian. And let me ask you something. When looking into the eyes of an ethereal woman, do you think of men? When I looked into the eyes of my first girl crush, of my first girlfriend that was my girlfriend, my thoughts were not focused on men. My thoughts were focused on her and how she tasted. And when men meant me harm, I could almost taste it, but I have no hate. I have some fear, but that is not hate. Fear is self-preserving. Hate is all-consuming, and if I'm going to be consumed, I would rather it be by way of a woman's thighs. I get high off of women. So let me say this. Women have dicks. Dicks are no longer a cornered market. There are attachable dicks, and there are born with dicks, and there are flesh tone dicks, and colorful dicks, and in this sea of dicks, men may be the Puget Sound, like something you drive around as you look to the ocean. And I was hoping he would understand that. But no, he still thought I hated men. Or rather, couldn't fathom my indifference. See, men are so used to being centered that when they are a password that has to be re-entered, never gotten on the first try, they cry. Or rather, throw temper tantrums because tears are gay. And so they say we hate men because they would rather be hated than not perceived at all. If you want to make a man feel small, ignore him. I learned that from a young age. I also learned how to be brave because men get angry when you refuse them, when you refuse their dick. And I used to feel angry, but now I feel sick. My heart is sick for beings who reduce themselves to a part that is not even exclusive to them, who shed tears in the dark, who cut deep and leave marks because receiving is weak. So they don't receive help, they give hate. Sometimes it's the only thing they know how to give. And that's a pitiful life to live. So when asked if I missed dick, I said that I missed him. I told him that I missed my friend. And he said he missed me. And if I ever wanted dick, he would gladly share. And that, I guess, was his way of showing care, which maybe means that we're getting somewhere. I was aware that this could be a teaching moment, so I used that moment to be a friend. And yes, I'm still a lesbian. Thank you.
Give it up for our poets. Judges, please give your scores in. Judges. Okay, so our score for our sacrifice was a 28.2. Give it up for the poet, not the points. Okay, on deck, we have Reggie coming up to the stage. Give it up for our next poet, Bemi.
Woo!
You guys hear me?
Bemi.
Yay! Woo! Okay, I'm trying to set this up so I can. Okay, cool. All right. Okay, so my first poem is gonna be called "Peace in Me." When one became two, your eager spirit greeted mine, and I found eternal youth in the presence of yours. Now I embodied nature. I became a mother. I held the universe as you entered my universe, blooming. Even spring found such jealousy in the love that smelled of daisies and felt of hugs from the clouds. Merely the epitome of true joy. Your gentle hands grazed the lining of your newfound home, imprinting love notes within my skin. I held you close to me, wishing I could find Father Time as to plead with all the might in my body, to move the essence of the world to fit my comfort and growing need, to hold a part of me in all its innocence and beauty. I broke my heart in half and gave you the raw affection, untouched by my sorrowful past. You swim around in my mind, touching the corners I had deemed for dead. As I let go and shed the past skin of misery, you entered the physical realm as flawlessly as you did my thoughts. Now I hold you, looking into my soul, into your soul as you did mine. And then, a moment, a bond was created. I was pulling my weight in gold to show you a piece of me that helped me find peace in me. Soon then, I learned to flawlessly crave the touch of a Black woman, so fragrant with her love, colors of the wind woven into her skin. First mother was nature, second was the holder of the womb in which she escaped from. The undefeated beauty of an unspoken understanding between both our auras, a language only our tongues can shapeshift into an interpretive song to our ears, gentle enough to relive the womanly warriors. I held in the entrance of my vulnerability, to ward away unwanted compliments, an entitled yet uninvited guest. Something too gentle and graceful in the look of her eyes. Generations of hurt, unresolved trauma, needed with carelessness to rise and transform into the unconditional love, an untouchable feeling. One of the things you couldn't imitate, for her essence is incapturable by silicone bodies and imitation of tribal dances to the native tongues of her brothers. She brings peace to storms, settles earthquakes with her grace, speaks life into the dead, the resurrection of her elegant nature, in the energy she was blessed by, the arms of Pangea, wrapped around her in spells of protection, none the bewitching of envy could break. All right, my second one is absent. I feel the disconnect coming from each shattering disagreement that leaves me shaken. I can't help but try to find the soul behind your vacant eyes. I desperately search for answers. You clock back your tongue, and while you shoot me to pieces, your words scramble in my head. I scurry to collect the parts of me left for dead, before they embed an unremovable stain in the threads that hold us together. Every day presented a new quest, a new problem, confusion probing my thoughts. I feel naked as vulnerability hits me, leaving me defenseless. For I had long retired the troops I kept at my heart's gates. To avoid returning a veteran to war, the things you couldn't change were the reasons I loved you. Yet with every passing moment, I dove deeper into my insecurities as the three-headed dog at the gate of my flaws barked in silence. I descended elegantly, although cast into an inescapable vessel of self-pity and sorrow. As did Persephone, I became light in the pitch-black world of pessimism. I speak in hieroglyphics only to try and decrypt the love language in which you speak. Alas, home is inevitably where the heart is. But what do you call a heart without a home? A home safekeeping. As I sit and converse with myself, the mumble of indescribable words that emerge from my subconscious leave me distracted as I fall into the cycle of excusing every behavior that I just so happen to be burdened with receiving from your labyrinth of a conscious. At times I look, others I see. In all your absence and presence, you leave me puzzled, yet these pieces don't fit. I try to interpret an incomplete image, so I'm stuck with cutting a piece of me to make you whole, all so I can feel your constant absence. Thank you guys, I'm finished.
Give it up for our poet. Judges, please get your scores in.
Woo!
Judges. Okay, our previous poet, Gray Violet, got a 29 after a time penalty. That's okay. Give it up for the poet, not the points. Okay, coming up to the stage, we have Reggie. On deck, we have Samantha Kendall, but give it up for Reggie.
Woo!
Woo.
Woo!
Yes, look at that hair. Ooh.
Can y'all hear me?
Mhm,
Yes.
Mhm.
The most efficient way to kill a man is to first strip him of his voice. He will die without being able to scream. To strip the Black body of a name is to forcibly remove the identity. So when a white man calls me a nigger, I forget what I call myself when I am alone and Black and can feel the pulse of my heartbeat quickening under his gaze. Where I am from, there is no such thing as forgiveness. Mercy knows no place in my heart. When a white man calls you a nigger, it is the most violent attack. So naturally, the only thing I want is retribution. Tomorrow we can march. Tomorrow, a white ally can misquote a Black revolutionary at the rally. Tomorrow, we can have peace at the expense of my dignity. But today, I want nothing more than to hear the melodious crack of teeth breaking against concrete. It is blood for blood. An eye for an eye. I want a Black outrage. I want to unmarrow every one of his bones, to unair each of his lungs. I want to wake up knee deep in a violence worth the name he stole from me. You know, Reginald means king or high judge, one who rules or gives advice. Nigger means animal, property, violent beast or docile servant. The most effective way to kill a people is to first strip them of their names. To rename the Black body is to claim ownership over the parts of us that can't fight back. So yes, a white man gonna catch a fade over this. Yes, he's gonna get this work. Let this be a reminder to say nigger with your hands up, with some bass in your voice, with your chest puffed out and ready for a problem, because I have already bled for this, died for this, resurrected myself, and then still had to fight over this. I have cried and cried and cried. I have been silent, peaceful, kind, compassionate even. Now, I have nothing left to lose. Now, there is nothing left but rage and fists and a thirst for vengeance I'm not sure I can control. You wanted a nigger, so here I am. You wanted violence, so give me your blood. Let me paint the walls with you. Let me spell out your name on the sidewalk in red. Let me rip out a tooth for every Black boy that has ever died in your mouth. String together a necklace as a warning, a dorsal fin in the water to the next white man to fix his mouth to twist my name into an early grave. Let me rip out your tongue. Let me tear open your throat. Do you remember when I told you the best way to kill a man is to first strip him of his voice?
Give it up to the poet. Judges, please send your scores in. Judges. Okay, our previous poet, Bemi, got a 28.2. Give it up for the poet, not the points. On deck, we have the last poet of the first round, Colin. But coming up to the stage, give it up for Samantha Kuikenda. Let me say that again. Samantha Kuikenda.
Yay.
Speak, poet.
I needed a father, not just any kind of father. The father that tuck you in at night, tell you everything will be all right. Instead, I got a father that laughed when I wasn't acting right. Instead, I got a dad that allowed man to look at me funny. Instead, I got a dad that took advantage of my mom. Dad, you want to play the great game again? What was the only moment that my dad was a dad, making grapes talk and have voices? Oh, I wish that dad was always there. But that crown royal wouldn't let him go. He was loyal to the bottle. Sorry. He was loyal to the bottle. Every corner store is a bus stop on the ride to his trauma. First corner store, the dad he never had. Second corner store, the mom he never had. Third corner store, the family he never had. Daddy, leave my brother alone as I grabbed his waist, hoping that my little arms would make his 6-foot grown man leave my 15-year-old brother alone. With my strength and mind power, I could, Daddy, Daddy, curtains close, the next scene, the next episode, the holes within my heart grow as much as the pain that dwells beneath me, begging for someone to hold it and grab it for a keepsake. You want me to love, but what is love? I was taught before I could walk that hate is the strongest and the best way of coping. Hate drives me to my corner stores. My first corner store, the dad that never had. The second corner store, the mistreatment by my peers. The third corner store, nobody loves me. I guess we all have corner stores. We drive to each bottle, the bottle that gets us to one place to another. What is your crown royal? Does hate or love drive you to your bus stops? Dad, you want to play the great game again? Almost like a piece of love that renaissance with me when I think of this memory. A love that drove me to see the creative strokes of my father. You see, he wasn't bad. The world had created a monster out of something so beautiful. So I wonder what he would have been like if the world was more kind to him. Hello, I'm Mr. Grape. How are you? Well, I'm doing fine. How about you? I think I'm good. Maybe that was my real dad, my real father. Maybe.
Give it up for the poet. Judges, please send in your scores. Our previous poet, Reggie, got a 30. Give it up for the poet, not the point.
God damn. Woo.
On deck, we have the end of the first round, but coming up to the stage, give it up for our last poet of the first round, Colin.
All right, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
I stepped in a blood puddle on my way to work the other day. I noticed that there was no trail, just a bloody pool. Like someone just dropped there and never moved again, and damn, that's just how shit goes. But ain't it ashamed how accustomed we are to death around here? And me and my niggas been to more funerals than baby showers. We drink from a chalice of blood and call this wine bittersweet. We watch big homies get killed and still look up to them. Open caskets turn to fashion shows talking about, damn, don't he look nice in that suit? Like it don't matter how quick we die as long as our clothes look nice in the casket. And I wonder whose grave I just stepped on. And did they know that their legacy would be nothing but a nameless trail of bloody footsteps? I scrubbed blood off my shoes that evening. I hear gunshots in the distance as a mother scrubs blood off her hands. I try to erase the evidence of death from my sneakers, and I feel guilt starting to crawl across the backs of my fingers like the dorsals of my hands were soaked red, so I scrubbed them too. Is how many times did I cheat death? Did my luck come at someone else's expense? Like, how many niggas can I lose before I start to lose myself? I scrub my hands as I try to wash away survivor's guilt. It's a tougher stain than blood. I don't think I got the right kind of soap. Is there Dove for a nigga who outlived all their cousins? Is there hand sanitizer that kills 99% of memories of bullets and caskets? Is there Windex to wipe away this trauma with a streak-free shine? I scrub my hands until my palms are raw and red, blood's pooling in the sink. There is no trail. Like I just dropped right there and never moved again.
Give it up for the poet. Judges, please send your scores in. Judges, scores in. Okay, that was the end of our first round. Amazing, great. Wow, what amazing performances. So usually we take the top 5 poets of the first round and send them to the second round. So those top 5 poets are gonna go to the second round. We're just gonna go straight into the second round, keep the same energy that we're having right now, but don't think that we're not gonna have another sacrifice for round 2 because you'd be wrong. Okay, poets, same rules for round 2. It's just reverse order. So the order for round 2 is gonna be Colin, Samantha, Kendall, Reggie, Bemi, and Gray Violet. Give it up for the poets in the second round. On deck, we have Colin. I'm going to say this part a little bit slower to give everyone a little more time to get ready for their poems and to just give it some more effect. But before our second round, we need another sacrifice. Please welcome to the stage, Mike King.
Woo!
I whipped champ.
When one eye whips and you start sacking.
I miss this. Okay, poem. White and blue, a love story. White had always known there was something special about blue. Ever since White was a child, blue had been there, walking White home from school, ensuring none of the other colors were mean to White. Blue made White feel safe, felt home wherever. White could be itself around blue. Never had to explain to blue. Blue didn't care about White's past because White's past was blue's future, and blue loved White too. How could blue not? They had everything in common. Their smiles would empty neighborhoods. Their laughter would fill blue's ribcage with colors. White had never known a relationship like this. No hiding with blue. No political correctness with blue. Blue didn't believe in correctness, just corrections. White loved blue's ambition. Blue basked in White's unwavering support. It was a match made in history for decades. White and blue lived happily together. Only a fool would think blue would ever turn away from White. Then suddenly, blue started looking different, started showing up in black, and White didn't like that. White demanded blue explain. White liked blue the way blue was, like a clouded sky, a blue White could see itself in. Blue smiled, cupped White's anxious face, promised that change would not change blue, and White believed, because though blue was a liar, blue never lied to White. White saw change too, felt pressure to leave blue, to let blue protect all colors, for blue and White to just be friends, but blue and White could never just be friends. White needed blue. White was nothing without blue. Blue completed White, so White began to plot. White dreamed of ways to keep blue and White together. White wrote love letters, called them legislation, sent hidden messages through black codes that only blue would understand, but White wasn't satisfied. White grew threatened, saw black thriving in Tulsa, in Durham, in Richmond, and Birmingham, so White crafted a new plan, introduced new colors, foreign this time, brought China White and black tar into black's home, made blue put black away for little bags of green. White was high now, so high looking down on what blue and White had accomplished together. White's face, a job well done. Blue's smile, a row of occupied jail cells, but blue had something bigger planned. Got down on one knee, revealed the biggest rock White had ever seen, and White gasped, screamed yes, and together, hand in hand, White and blue shattered the rock into a million shards, lying on every corner in black's neighborhood. White and blue knew this was the beginning of the rest of their lives. Now blue always had a reason to come home to White, and soon blue's rib cage was bursting with colors. Soon blue's prisons, all shades of black and brown, a spectrum by design, a palette palatable for White, a love story so inconceivable, so unimaginable. To this day, their children refuse to believe it.
Give it up for our Sacrifice My King. Judges, please
God
get your scores
damn.
in, please. Judges. Okay, as a reminder, our second round goes in this order. Colin, Samantha, Quickendo, Reggie, Bemi, and Gray Violet. On deck, we have Samantha, Quickendo. But coming up to the stage, give it up for our first poet of the second round, Colin.
Cornrow Colin Hills born with a vision. Cornrow Colin Hills born with a vision.
Gang
The
giggity.
Jolly Green Giant.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
So I'm tired of white people complaining about reverse racism. So to respond, I've just decided to actually be reverse racist. For example, when I see white people walking down the block, I cross the street. I lock my car door when they walk past my window. You don't know what they will take from you when you leave your valuables out in the open. Like, what if they want to shoot me or rob me of my rights? So I clutch my bag on the elevator, on the bus, or the subway. When we make eye contact, I make my lips disappear just to show them exactly how much their skin makes mine crawl, and they never notice a thing. Like they wouldn't know racism even if you called them a nigger. And trust me, I have tried that too. Point being, they don't notice the racism because they never had to look out for the racist, never had to learn to tell the difference between the sound of a locking door and a cocked gun, of a clutched bag and an itchy trigger finger. There is no difference in the lipless smile behind each. The difference between racism and reverse racism was the element of fear. So what exactly were you afraid of, Chad, when the black kid called you mayonnaise boy in elementary school? Did the chorus of laughter feel like a firing squad? Do you wake up at night in a cold sweat, neck still hot from the burn of a lucid rope, a nightmare of your body swaying to the breeze in front of a black crowd screaming, mayonnaise boy, mayonnaise boy, mayonnaise boy? If so, you should probably just get some therapy and thug that shit out like the rest of us. But we both know that this has nothing to do with fear and everything to do with your ego, that you were never afraid of the black boy, of being less than the black boy, being less than on top, toppling down the rest. And when you make it there to the top, walking to your new apartment, oh, happy-go-lucky, I'll be waiting for you with a neighborhood watch hat on and a flashlight. Like, what you doing here, boy? I don't like your kind around here, boy. We don't want to see you in this neighborhood, boy. Don't cry. This isn't Uno. You don't get to reverse this race card. Just pull yourself up by your bootstraps. Be glad we haven't cut them yet. Feel the sting of having to look up at yet another black boy looking down on you. Feel the stench of humiliation burn your nose each time you breathe, and realize that through all of this, you are still breathing. So it can't be that bad, right?
Give it up for Colin. Judges, please send your scores in. Judges, please send your scores in. Okay, on deck, we have Reggie coming up to the stage. Give it up for our next poet, Samantha Quickendo.
Hey! Go ahead then, girl.
I was minding my business when you came into my life. I mean, I really was. You came in like a hailstorm. I felt that shit. Do you feel me? I was minding my business when you thought it was cute to call me out. Out? For what? To get your self-gratification to see me suffer? Do you feel me now? I was minding my own fucking business and I didn't bother nobody. I didn't stand in the way for you to paint a pretty picturesque picture of who you thought I was, because who I was is not who I am or gonna be. You're just a simple little particle that floats in the wind. I depend on myself, always had. It's bad when a young girl loses hope before she even knows her letters. A, B, C, D, F, A, I, L. No. A, B, C, D, F, U, C, K. No. They said I was slow. Am I? Tie my shoe tight. Samantha, Donald, running into a world that was never created for me. I realized with water in my eyes that I never was the one. I was just the right one. Right one? The right one? The right one. Oh, do you feel me? Do ya? On my knees, what's next? Nigga, bitch, stupid, ugly, what's next? Die? Dear admirer, I tried at least several times before turning 18. Do you still want me? I mean, I got nice perks, a nice ass, a pretty smile, a good personality. That's good enough, honey? Pulsing, perpetual pain slit through me like a knife in butter. Help, help, help. I've done it again. All I needed was a friend. My body is my temple, but the only thing you love is my exterior. Do you feel me?
Give it up for our poet, Samantha.
Woo!
Okay, everyone. So we're having a moment, you know, being online, electronic and stuff. We have to restart one of our streams for Instagram. So in the meantime, I'm going to shout out some of the shows in the Bay that you can go see other than Berkeley Slam. Obviously, you can see the Berkeley Slam every Wednesday on the Wednesday at 8 o'clock here on your computer or phone or wherever you're watching it. I don't know. You can also see the Santa Cruz Word Church Mondays on Instagram Live at Legendary Collective. The Rich Oak Alchemy Slam every first and third Saturday at the Allen Bluford Center, Instagram Live at Rich Oak Alchemy, or the Oakland Slam every third Tuesday at Lucas Tap Room. You can find them at their Instagram at Oakland Slam. These are more amazing places that you can go see poetry if, you know, maybe Wednesdays just don't work for you. Maybe Wednesday is your self-care day. If it is, then you should still be watching Slam. What is more self-care than watching people yell about their emotions and how racism sucks? It's true. That's the T. Okay, we're back on Instagram. Hello, everyone on Instagram that missed everything that I just said. Don't worry about it. Just go to the Berkeley Slams page and you can see all the other slams everywhere. You know, it's all interconnected. It's like the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but with poetry and specifically in the Bay Area. Okay, moving on with the slam. On deck, we have Bemi, but coming up to the stage, give it up for our next poet, Reggie.
Woo!
Woo!
Can y'all hear me?
Yes.
Indeed.
Yeah.
.com.
1. If I don't have faith, I have fists. I have bone break violence. I have blood-fingered nails, a claw, a hook, an unhappening of a vein, the red poured out on the concrete, the pain, the pain, the pain, the searing, the fire, the water, the bodies left to drown in the dirt. The maggots swarmed a delicious rot of skin sagging over dead muscle and tired bones so white, it makes the morning worth listening to. Grief is a troublesome thief. I cry for my own corpse. I cry for the body next to it. I cry for the dirt and all the death it carries, for all the ghosts surrounded by their own unmaking, for all the Black boys surrounded by a familiar haunting, and for all the blood that knows the blade that spilled it too. If Black boys are not magic, why are we so damn good at disappearing? I believe now. I really do. I think a part of me always has. I know that I will die before this trick is over. I'll fill with maggots before the curtains close, but damn, what a house the magician has made me. My home made of cloth, wide brimmed and trimmed neat, big enough to fit any corpse he's left to rot in the dark. Listen here, children. The trick is simple. You just close your eyes, count to 3, and believe in something, in anything, as long as it's not me. 3. It does not take much to believe in something. This I know from experience. I think faith in this way is completely useless. It is easy to fall for any magician's trick, to see him pull a ghost from the hat and mistake it for a rabbit. For faith, a living thing, something worth keeping, worth holding on to. 4. So the magician keeps pulling the same dead rabbit out the same tired hat, and all the children are crying except for the Black boys. Do it again. Do it again. It can't be dead. Denial grabs at a young neck before grief can crawl from its throat and make a home out of rotting flesh and brittle bone. 5. An erasure. I don't have faith. I have bone. I have blood. The red pain searing the body is left to drown in the maggot swarm. Rot of dead bones. My body carries all the ghosts, all the black boys, all the blood. 6. So this faith thing's gotten just a little bit complicated. What's with the rabbit? That doesn't matter. What's that supposed to mean? That doesn't matter either. Nothing, in fact, matters when you are staring down the barrel of a gun. There is no God that is willing to take a bullet for you. So how many times must the rabbit vanish for someone to notice its absence? How many crowds will in fact applaud the disappearing rabbits and tricks? God and men, they are all the same to me. I'll stuff the magician inside his own hat if I have to, if I have faith. It is only within myself. If I have a God at all, I'll kill him with my own 2 hands. I'll bury him in his own dirt.
Give it up for Reggie. Judges, please send your scores in. Judges, send your scores in. Oof. Okay, on deck, we have the last poet of the night, Gray Violet. But coming to the stage, give it up for our penultimate poet. That's second to last. Give it up for Bemi.
Woo!
Hey.
All right. Thank you. My poem is called Poison. I watch as you breathe peacefully in your slumber. Inhale. Tension as you prepare to share your secrets with the cosmos. Exhale. Almost a sigh of relief with your unspoken words. Each emotion tangling with the hues of the morning sky. Black and white. Merging into pink and gold. You let me paint your interpretation of all that love was, is, and could have been. But kiss those memories goodbye. The ones with the voices raging, eyes dropping tears as the only thing that's visible in the air is the clear scent of misinterpretation, miscommunication. Screaming at her because she didn't have the patience to understand what you were saying, couldn't give you what you were craving. The bittersweet poison of hearts mismatched, minds detached, sensitivity lacked, patience cracked. So many grudges that you just happened to lost track. To the root of that misery, the end seemed to that memory, something like when the heart and the mind lived in harmony. So you choke, twist, and slam all her reasoning, labeled it an excuse. Remember the day you picked her to be your lover and your muse? Yet now you see her as no use, a blunt and exclusive to chase away the blues. Forget the memories of her heart left bruised. She came to pick her poison and it turns out it was you. And now when it comes to the next, promise me that when you kiss her lips, she'll taste the sweetness of your truth and vulnerability thick like honey. Promise me that you'll adore her, gently sparking her up from the inside out with a fiery glow, one that resembles the moon as she transforms under its soft light, causing her to drown in the depths of her undisclosed emotions. You'll bring her back to shore and breathe life into her fragile body. Promise me that when disappointment rains from her soft brown eyes, you'll be the one to dry her tears. Before they drop, gently caressing her cheek with an intensity that boils underneath your skin. Promise me that your love for her will know not a single boundary. Promise me that when her soul arises and ascends beyond her body, you'll follow her footsteps and walk on her every star, following the stairway to your heaven. Promise me that when you use the pain my love has taught you, you'll shield her from the world and give her an escape for when she proves too frail to feel. Promise me that she'll bear the fruit of my broken labor, eating from the compromises knotted down my spine. Promise me that you'll love her and make it a treasure. When she lays her head on your chest, listening to your ink-ridden heart pump one love story after the next, making her feel what it means to truly be loved by you. Thank you.
Give it up for the poet.
Woo!
Give it for Bemi. Okay, on deck we have the end of the show. We have figuring out who won. We have figuring out who didn't win, but was still important and did some amazing poems. But before that, give it up for our last poet of the night. Give it up for Gray Violet.
Yay! Hey!
Can everyone hear me? Check.
Yes.
We can hear you.
Okay. I am a poet, a failing poet, a loving poet, a poet whose failure to love gives life to beautiful prose, a poet who knows just enough to be taken seriously, but she'd rather not be taken at all, a poet that is perceived, a poet that grieves being noticed, like read her words, hear her song, but don't ask for anything else. Her song is enough. Her song is too much to hold inside, so when it leaves her mouth, she kills over with the emotional exorcism of what we call truth. Black women who are masters of words become slaves to the way it makes them feel, become addicted to being able to bend a tongue that was almost cut out. I became addicted to being able to use my tongue, the same tongue that bears the slashes of white male silencers. And sometimes black male silencers, they all try to silence us. I am a tired poet, but a loving one. My heart holds love for pretty damaged women like me. For the queers and the sluts and the bitches, I trade love poems with other word witches to fill their hearts before they have to go. And our coven is majestic because we deem it so. And when my head is rested on her chest, things don't seem so slow. And when I'm running my hand through her thick coils, I am reminded that I am also majestic on my own, and I am grown. So I must be a poet. Adulting is a special kind of poetry, where waking up can be the whole piece. But staying up can break you into pieces, break me into pieces. I keep speaking in different persons because I am not a person. I am a poet. And I am held to a higher standard, forced to be articulate when I want to scream, forced to make pretty stories out of lofty dreams. I am pulled at the seams because it seems like this art form that has given me so much has taken away more than enough, making me feel like I'm never enough, like I try to write about my pain, but someone's pain is always more poetic. Porn is never real, and trauma porn is no different. Suddenly I feel myself drifting, putting myself in dark places over and over just so that I can see the score be so much more than others. Because I was never good at anything except for writing. And I was never given anything except words. I will never be anything except for a poet. A strong, black, gay femme poet who knows that she wishes she never knew that, who's been fed morsels so she rides dorsals, hoping to get saved from drowning. I'm drowning, can't you see? But wait, I forgot. You don't see me. You see Aliana, the extroverted empath who still has yet to find her own path. You see a poet. You saw a poet.
Give it up for Gray Violet.
Yes.
Judges, please send your scores in. Judges, send your scores in. Final scores of the night. Okay, everyone. We did it together collectively. We got to the end of the night after hearing some phenomenal poetry. While my scorekeeper tabulates who won and who almost won and who is still important regardless, I have some other slams to shout out. Well, it's just this one. But for those of you who missed it throughout the middle, you can see the Santa Cruz Word Church every Monday on Instagram Live at Legendary Collective. Rich Oak Alchemy Slam first and third Saturdays at Rich Oak Alchemy Instagram Live. Oakland Slam every third Tuesday at Lucas Taproom or Instagram at Oakland Slam. All this information you can find on Facebook through our Facebook page, the Berkeley Slam. Don't worry about it. We're also here every Wednesday, 8 o'clock, 7 o'clock workshop. If you feel like, you want to do something slammy, but you don't have anything, or you don't feel like your poetry is good enough, let me tell you, it is. But if you want to write more poetry, you can come to our workshops 7 o'clock before every slam. Sometimes we have our amazing features host the workshops. Sometimes it's some other amazing poet. Either way, if you want to create stuff, come to our workshop. Next week on Wednesday is our annual Spooky Slam. Ooh, because it's like Halloween in October. Oh my gosh, whoa, revolutionary, trend-setting, amazing. For the month of November, the Berkeley Slam will be MIA, so that we could hold space for the Make Gold workshops hosted by Janae Johnson. If you don't know who Janae Johnson is an amazing poet, educator, just everything all encompassing. Every Wednesday in November, the 4th, 11th, 18th, and 25th at 5 p.m. There will be an amazing workshop where you can create new things or even just listen to amazing poetry. Signups are open on Eventbrite starting the 23rd, this Friday. If you need to find more information, you can look up the Make Gold workshops on Facebook or find it through Berkeley Slam. Next week, Spooky Slam, November, amazing workshops. It's just an amazing time to write stuff, Okay. So I have our scores. Our winners? Yes. Okay. Please give me a virtual, what is this? Drum line? Beat? Drum roll. Got it. Ooh. Okay. In third place, give it up with a 56.7 for Gray Violet.
Hey.
Woo!
Amazing. Okay, now in second place with a 59.6, 0.1 away from first place, so extremely close tonight. Give it up for Reggie. Yeah.
Woo!
Hi, thank you. Lit. Yeah. Thanks everybody. Definitely sign up for those workshops for November. It's gonna be super lit. Those sign up, the Eventbrite to sign up and register for that. For those workshops will be going up on Friday. You have to go to the Eventbrite in order to get the Zoom link. So make sure you do that ASAP as possible.
Okay, amazing. Now, for our first place winner with a 59.7, this close to second, but beating it out in the last second. Yeah, give it up for Colin.
Woo!
Woo!
Hey, thank you everybody. Again, this was a really great night. If y'all missed Oakland Slam last night, thanks for coming tonight because it was another amazing show. Please come back if you're inspired by anybody. Please sign up or tell your friends to sign up because we love having a whole big ass list of amazing artists. Support the show, so hit our Cash App, hit our Venmo, hit our Patreon. But it's really folks like you that make these shows possible. So thank y'all. Peace.
Woo, give it up for Colin, give it up for Reggie, give it up for Gray, give it up for Samantha, give it up for Bemi, give it up for every poet that graced the stage tonight. Give it up for yourselves for going through this amazing night of poetry. Make sure you drink water, make sure you take your medications, make sure you eat fruit, but more importantly, make sure you sign up for the Spooky Slam next week. Come back with us in November for some amazing workshops. Sign-ups come up this Friday, and have yourself a merry little Christmas. No, it's October. Well, still have yourself a merry little Christmas.